Uh, Juwan was saying after the game that, maybe this team needed the kick in the butt of a loss, that it could have been getting too comfortable. Do you see the same thing at all? As a loss a better
No,
teaching tool?
no, no, no. We're up three with 30 seconds to go. Um, I'd much rather had made the free throw and then uh, had a little bit more leadership where we knew what we were doing on that next ensuing play with transition defense, which is one of the reasons why we've been so good defensively. It's because we've always been good with our transition defense. So I don't that you're asking me something that's big picture. I focus on the plays we did not make. We missed a free throw, and then we allowed a kid to come down and get a contested three, and our feet were inside the 3-point line. So I'm focused on those areas.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Chris Gardner from Houston Round Ball Review. Chris, please go ahead with your question.
Coach, adding on to that, you always tell us you like to see the team progress month to month. Where is the team as far as you're concerned as we're
Getting
in
better.
February now?
We're not 9-1. We're 17-4. We play basically without Emmanuel Sharp. Javier was playing really well. Was out. Nothing changed.
And how was Xavier? Something happened. How did he get injured on that
I
play?
think
What
he
happened?
got, yeah, there wasn't a direct blow, more of a glancing blow with his head. Um, um, and we'll be cautious with him. We'll see how he is at practice today.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Greg Bailey with KTRK TV. Greg, please go ahead.
Kelvin, good morning. You mentioned Emmanuel there. What is his status right now? I know you've mentioned the pain aspect. Where is he right now physically?
Yeah, we're probably going to hold Emmanuel out this week. Um, just shut him down. He was fine to play the game. Um, it's when the doctors and the trainers and the kid give you a thumbs up. But I didn't ask him this time. I said, look, we're going back and forth. He's too valuable to us. The reason why we've been a really, really good team is because we've had access to Milos, Emmanuel, LJ, J1, and JoJo as a starting five, and I can play them how I wish to. Now I don't have Emmanuel, so obviously you're not going to be as good. So sitting Emmanuel down for a week, let's see how it is. Hopefully this will get him on the other side of the recovery, and then we'll go from there.
Kelvin, can I follow up just real quick? You guys played quite the non-conference schedule. How does that help you prepare not only for the level of play in the Big 12, but perhaps
Well,
different?
that question was more apropos a month ago.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean it helped us the first 4 or 5 games, but now, we're on the backside of conference play. This is our 11th conference game. I don't think non-conference play has anything to do. We've already played at Kansas. We played at West Virginia. Uh, we played at Kansas State, at Central Florida, and I'm missing somebody. So, yeah, non-conference schedule is irrelevant at this point. It's all about your conference schedule, and there's plenty of good teams to, as you could tell Saturday in any league, any team's capable of beating you. Um, we say that a lot, but some people don't really understand it until it happens. So, and when that happens, every coach has had a ton of experience coming off losses. Because I'm older, I probably had more losses than anybody. So we get our team together and get on down the road. When the kid's out, that means somebody else gets an opportunity.
Thank you, Greg. We'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kelvin.
Good morning, Joseph.
Kelvin, if I could go back real quick on Emmanuel, if I'm not mistaken, when it first happened, you described it as black and blue and nasty
Yeah,
and how
and yellow and purple.
yellow and purple. So
I
when you
left out those two colors, but it was
yellow
black,
and
blue,
purple.
yellow, and purple.
Well, the with that said, the from what you've been told is rest right now the best course. It doesn't look like it. Does it look like it's anything beyond that from a needing to get procedural or at this point or
No, he came through the West Virginia game okay, and then he didn't have a setback, and he didn't have really a setback Saturday. It's just it's like if you have an injury or I have an injury, it's going to heal over time if we don't do anything, as long as we don't re-injure it. But we've got these are two really important months for us, and we got enough depth that we can rest him, and you want to be fair to the kid, and you want to be fair to the team. But his personal, and if it was up to Emmanuel, he wouldn't do this,
right?
But I never talk to the kid until I go to the trainer. I said, John, where's Emmanuel at? And he'll tell me. I said, do you think he's better off sitting? He says, there's no reason to sit him. And you're wasting your time asking Emmanuel. But I pulled Emmanuel in the office yesterday. We had film and practice yesterday, and basically we agreed to agree that let's see if we can get him ready for games down the road by giving this thing a chance. Put it back in the boot, so we can promote some healing. John does an awesome job, but obviously he's not 100%. And sometimes sometimes as a coach, you got to save them from themselves.
When he did not play a while back, I believe Terrence was the guy that started for him. Do you feel like that's sort of the direction, and then you mix and match whether it's whoever you have come off the bench in that role?
Yeah, that's probably fair. That's probably what I'm going to try to do. You go to practice every day, and Terrence did some good things on Saturday, and then he had some other areas that he's got to continue to evolve in. But we have a good team. I'm excited about what's in front of this team, and looking forward to Tuesday night.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Chris Gardner, please. Chris, go ahead.
Coach, we've had Robert Fluff McKeever, a former UH player, on our post-game shows recently. He never played for you, but he talked to us about how touched he was that you had in your staff and Lauren had reached out to him to reconnect alums like him. So that's how important is you to bring all the former Cougar players, in touch base with them?
Well, it's everybody to me. I have so much respect for the people that came before us. One of the wasn't the factor, but one of the things I thought about when I was making the decision whether to do this or not was the success that Coach Lewis had here over time. And there's been a lot of coaches between Coach Lewis and myself, but it doesn't matter who your coach was. The program's bigger than all of us. I'm not the program here. I'm the coach, and the coach is always temporary. He's going to leave eventually, one way or another. He'll move on, and but the program will always be here, and because of the job that Coach Lewis had and how he built this program basically from scratch, was a big part of socially changing the face of the University of Houston in the mid-'60s by helping integrate African-American kids into university, and winning at the level he did. First televised regular season game of the century, the first game of the century. I don't know how many game of the centuries can you have? I always thought that was one game, but since then there's been about 50 game of the centuries. But to me, the coach that should always be associated with this university should always be Coach Lewis. He's the one that started it. He built an unbelievable brand that other kids would want to come here. And all the players, Jerry Bonney, Clay Hoster, Elvin, Otis Birdsong, Ken Cioli, Fluff. We're all part of a family. I'm done. I was so blessed to have a great mother and father that taught me to understand, always never forget where you came from and understand your place. But I think keeping our program humble by making sure that all the former players have a place here. They're always welcome to come to practice. They're always welcome to come up here, and if they just want to just talk or see, and I don't know if we can help them or not, but we would try. But I think programs that when you reach back generations, it's a good thing, because you hope they'll pay it forward to players that we don't know about. Hopefully Fluff will. I don't know every player that played for Coach Lewis or Coach Foster or Clyde or Alvin or Ray. I don't know them all, but they're all welcome in our program as far as I'm concerned.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte. Go ahead, Joseph.
Speaking of former players, and forgive me if I speak out of turn here because I haven't seen anything official from the school, but Alvin Franklin from Phi Sigma Gamma, if I'm not mistaken, there was a report, or maybe Chris Gardner had said over the weekend on his podcast that he had passed away. Have you been in touch with anyone with his family or just sort of the program?
And Chris, not yet. Chris is the one that actually told me, and it's like Chris brought up a good thing a while ago. Our program and this program's a brotherhood. And we're getting to the point when a lot of those early players that were in their early 20s and the mid 60s, it's getting that time. That's why it's important to reach out and touch as many people as you can. And Alvin played for a Hall of Famer and a legend in Coach Lewis. And but I'm glad you said that, Joseph. That's something we should do. Absolutely.
We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Kelvin, what have you seen from Terrence as he looks for that consistency, coming off
Terrence's biggest issue and his biggest opponent every game is never the guy in the other uniform. Terrence by nature is a sweet kid. My grandmother would say that's a sweet child. And sometimes he's not as competitive or as hard-nosed or holds himself to a standard, a higher standard, and tries to reach that. We've had other kids. Jarris was a little bit like that when he came in here. Chris Senak's got a little bit of that in him too. Milos has that, but you can't let those kids breathe. They're going to help you win. LJ doesn't have a really, really high ceiling, but he's got a really high floor. He doesn't have wild swings where he's up and he's down. Most kids are up and down, not because of skills or shooting. It's because of consistent, tough effort. And that's where Terrence has to always have us on him about that, because it doesn't come natural to him. If you watch him play sometime, you go, wow, Terrence is a really good player. And then he may disappear for 20 minutes. Why was that? No, he was playing. You just don't remember him because he's wasn't as hard-nosed as he needs to be sometime. And I stay on Terrence about that. Terrence has a ton of potential, and he is getting better. Look at this year versus last year. And he'll continue to get better. But Terrence is a little bit of a wild card for us because he has the ability to elevate our team. And but the only way he's going to do that is get a little bit more mud in his blood.